Hey everyone, welcome back to Pretending with Dice. As always, I'm your host and game master, AJ. Before we get into today's episode, I just want to talk a little bit about my experiences at Dragon Meet this past weekend. You may have heard me plugging our appearance in the intros to the last couple of episodes. So yeah, this is now come and gone. I had a really great time at the con. It was our second year there as part of the Podcast Zone group. Slightly different lineup in the group this year, but that's kind of how these things go. It was super fun to get to meet a bunch of other podcasters once again, and more importantly, to meet some of you out there. If you're a new listener who hadn't heard us before meeting us at Dragon Meet, welcome along. We hope you'll enjoy yourself. I kind of ended up planning my trip a little better this time around, I must say. Last year, Jason and I travelled up to London on the same day as the con, as well as returning the same day, so it was like a super tiring experience, like loads of travel. And I kind of learned not to do that again. I was there for the whole weekend this time, and it meant I got to play in a whole bunch of extra games and do a bunch of extra stuff, which was just really cool. I've actually filmed a vlog of my experience, which has been shared already over the Pretending with Dice Twitter account. So if you're interested, go check that out. I'll probably tweet it out again after posting this episode to make it a bit easier to find. But yeah, it was a great experience. Hopefully if we do it again, you'll all be able to join me there and say hi and whatnot. Finally then, before we get into it, I want to again point folks towards our friends at the Penance RPG podcast. At the time of this recording, they're about 5 episodes into their newest series, Plummet, with new episodes going up every week. I am actually a cast member for this series, and if you enjoy my particular brand of silly voices and whatnot, definitely check it out. Head on over to @PenanceRPG on Twitter for more details. Alright then, so let's recap what happened last time. After having a bit of a falling out during their stop-off in the city of Lorana, our 3 adventurers, Pronce, Bork and Enothe, each set out alone towards their destination, the village of Wildmeadow, under a variety of circumstances. Bork had stayed sober and focused on the group's goal. He took one of the party's horses and made his way some distance south before camping for the night in relative safety and seclusion. Pronce, having stormed away from an argument with Enothe and taken a nap down by the river, came to the realization that his friends might have left him behind, and he set out into the night on the remaining horse. He didn't get far before he spotted a campfire which he assumed must belong to the others. This wasn't the case, however, and Pronce found himself robbed of his coin purse and the horse by a group of bandits who were kind of surprised that someone had come to them for a change. Escaping using the Dimension Door spell stored in Malar's gem, Pronce spent a sleepless night hiding in a hole beneath some tree roots, fearing for his life. Enothe awoke in the early hours of the morning from his alcohol-induced sleep to find that both horses were missing from the stables, and he had to buy another one. Setting out into the dawn, it was not long before he came across Pronce, making his dejected way back into the city, and the two of them continued on southwards, finding Bork after half a day's travel or so. Some half-hearted apologies were exchanged, and the trio continued on to Wildmeadow. About a mile or so from the village, they met a mysterious young woman who introduced herself as Elys, who proclaimed that she had been instructed by her master to meet 3 individuals matching their description at this exact spot to help her in the village with something that she had not been told. Catching their first view of Wildmeadow from a distance, however, the group all saw that an unnatural glow seemed to permeate the village, one which none of them could explain. So yeah, that's pretty much where we left off, so without any further ado, let's begin today's episode. Enjoy! So Elys leads the way on her white horse, heading down the hill, leaving the 3 of you there, watching her go.
Hey, wait up! We're coming with you. Right, guys?
Yes. I'll, wherever you guys go, yes, I'll follow.
Aren't you still on my horse?
Yeah, I'm clinging tight.
We've already started riding down.
Already started riding down. Okay, so
It just means I've got to drag him with me rather than just walking away from both of them. Come on, Bork, let's go.
I'm ahead of you. I'm on this mission. I'm here to get shit done.
you found a new lease on on professionalism.
He's not entirely in my good books right now.
Yeah.
Still. So.
Do you think that any part of that is to do with meeting your cousin and feeling like, okay, maybe he's a business owner?
It might have. There might have been I think a small positivity come from an optimism, but this all was obviously came from the pub. So
yeah,
and my nice little trip that I had myself.
Yeah, you did okay on your own. Yeah.
I did too, and then I found a Pronce. I'm trying to be nice at the moment.
So he's falling back into his old ways. This is why I'm not 100% with him.
No, sorry, hold on. That wasn't even in character. I was just bitch. Come on, man. Come on.
So yeah, you kind of you ride for a few minutes, sort of the village kind of growing larger in your view as you approach, and Elys kind of pulls her horse to a stop and says, "Something strange in the air around here. I don't want to take the horse any further." She gets down.
Pronce takes a sniff of the air. Can you smell anything unusual?
Make a perception check.
13 plus 2, so 15.
15? Not bad. There's something odd. You can't quite place it. It's not so much a smell, so much as like it feels like the way the air is moving isn't how it should. You're kind of on a bit of a kind of wide open kind of field, and looking in the distance, you can see trees are moving and things, but like, I don't know, just the air doesn't feel like it's moving like it should be moving.
Okay.
It's the way I can put it.
Okay, so feeling this, Pronce kind of whispers to Enothe, because he's holding him like tightly from behind, whispers to him, "A fell wind blows across these lands."
We need to get off the horse. Please let go.
He refuses to let go and holds as tight. For a moment at least.
I can't get off with you clinging to me. Please, please let go.
Don't leave me behind.
I'm not leaving you behind, but you need to get off the horse.
Pronce lets go and lets you get off, but then holds a hand down. Can you assist Pronce getting off the horse, please?
I'll help him get off the horse.
Okay.
Getting to ground, holding hands. Pronce does not let go of your hand.
I let go of your hand, and I push you off. Pronce, I need both my hands if I'm going to use my bow.
But
I need both my hands if I'm going to use my bow.
Sometimes you disappear though, and and he looks over to Bork and runs over quickly, and kind of like gets close. Like you're not going to disappear on me, are you?
No. I think we're gonna stick together for a little while.
Okay.
You're gonna have to sack up as well a bit though. Where's the old Pronce of opportunistic fire?
Fire?
There you go. See, I said the word. You're happy now.
Well, I do.
He said the secret word.
I said the word.
He have said the word. He's like, I do like a good fire.
Well, just think about that and keep your belly warm.
You can start seeing in his eyes that there's perhaps something returning.
Are we staying together for the children? Is that what we're doing at the moment?
Maybe. Staying together for
By the children, do you mean the listeners? Or
No, I mean Pronce.
Pronce is the shit.
Oh, right, okay.
I feel like me and Bork are staying together for Pronce.
I feel like you're more
For the
arguing
needs
with
of the
Pronce
many.
at the moment, and you and Bork aren't really doing a lot of talking.
No, but that's what I mean. I feel like me and Bork are trying to keep this together for
Purely
Pronce
for-
rather than for anything else.
That's what
Time will
motivates you.
tell.
I don't think his little heart could take it, Mark.
I don't know. We'll have to break it to him after the fight.
Son.
You look, and Elys has tied her horse to. There's like a kind of there's a small fence kind of bordering the road. She's tied it up next to there and sort of put a feed bag on it. So I don't know how long we're going to be. I'll best to leave the horses here, I think.
Okay, and do the same.
So she sort of gives her horse a reassuring pat and starts walking the rest of the way towards the village. Slowly, though, sort of as if she's not
Cautious.
sure what to... Yeah, cautiously, yeah.
Okay, Pronce kind of runs after her, leaving Bork's side, but again gets like really close up to her. Like every time he's rejoining a new person, it's very clear that the space between people is a scary place.
Yeah. It's a place full of bandits and dark woodland hollows.
That's it. Who knows what could happen when I'm away from other people? So kind of getting close. So what do you know about this place? What is there anything like? What can we prepare?
I don't know what to expect really. My master's just left a note for me saying to head to that road, and I would meet an elf, a halfling, and a bearded man. And you appeared half an hour later after I arrived.
Oh yes.
When you left, did this sky and the weird air was that normal before you?
I haven't been here before. I came from the north.
Oh, my apologies.
Can I get a perception check from, let's say, Enothe, because you've got quite a high passive perception, so.
No.
Okay. All right.
I'm lower to the ground. I'll make a perception check.
Yeah, sure.
15.
As you're kind of walking along the road behind them, up ahead, you're just sort of glancing around. And you can see in the sky, a little way away across the nearby fields, a flock of birds. They appear to be frozen in midair.
Well, that's a weird sight. I point over to them. You see that, guys? Out in the distance?
I do now.
Like, there's not a lot of movement, right?
That's uncanny.
In fact, it's probably fair to say that everything's feeling fairly still.
Not everything. And in fact, as you watch, the birds almost sort of seem to sort of speed, like go from a sort of completely frozen still to kind of slowly kind of speeding back up, and then before you know it, it's almost like they've jumped forward and then they disappear.
Glitchy. This place ain't right.
We're in a time warp, perhaps. A temporal warp, even.
I don't know. What's one of those?
It's a dance.
I think we should approach with caution, because this place is really weird.
Agreed, my friend.
I have my hand on the hilt of my
You've got the sword of Grazak at your side.
Let's go with that one for now.
I've nothing but caution right now.
Okay, you stick with the girl.
And he kind of leans in close enough to be touching her. Like
not that close.
Arm to arm, like no kind of unpleasant. Not the bad touch. It's all just completely. Jesus. It's just completely passive touching.
It's all above board.
Yeah.
I motion to Pronce, my arms from front to back, making a circle around me. I'm like about a foot away. See if he understands the idea of keeping a foot's distance.
Yeah, in fact, when your arm brushes up against her, she does kind of quickly look round as if as in a kind of like, she almost kind of jumps as if she really wasn't expecting.
Oh, don't worry, my dear. Don't worry. Just for safety.
For safety, please don't touch me.
But it's for safety.
I'm feeling quite safe, thank you very much.
I like her.
Pronce kind of like, all right, looks at her and like, okay, fine. Takes a step back. I would like to use at this point. He goes, well, if nobody's going to protect me, and then I would like to cast mage armor on myself.
Sure. How long does that last?
8 hours.
Okay.
That was what I was double checking as I was pausing there. Was like, I don't want to cast this if it's going to be 5 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Sweet.
So mark off first level spell.
Mage armor.
So this sort of shimmering kind of purple suit of armor kind of appears briefly visible around you, and then kind of in a sort of heat haze kind of like settles in. So it is definitely there, but it's kind of, you get the initial kind of flare up, and then like it's just kind of sitting there sort of thing. No longer giving off any light, but it's, yeah.
Ah, yes, the spell that would have protected him that he only remembered about in the last fight.
That's the one.
I've had this since day one. Yeah. And now I'm using it outside of a fight. So, feeling quite a lot more confident. You can see his like stature kind of like come up a little bit. Like he's clearly feeling far more confident. Well, there's nothing to do but move ahead, I guess. Elys. And he kind of looks to her to lead the way.
What's Enothe doing?
Just following behind, bow out, keeping an eye on things.
Yeah.
You head a few more meters down the road, and she kind of pulls up short again, looking around. Again, you can sort of see that flock of birds has sort of popped back into existence, if that makes sense, a little further along. And again, it's sort of frozen in midair. She's staring right at them. In fact, actually, as you look, another one kind of almost sort of flies in just in front of you above the road. And again, just sort of slow, doesn't stop, but kind of, you can see them moving past you in just like super slow motion, as if like time is moving slower for the birds. Well, that's rather quite peculiar, isn't it? She pulls out a wand and makes a complicated series of motions in the air in front of her. She's kind of facing away from you, but a sort of slight kind of glowing aura appears around her eyes. And make an Arcana check for me. I was about to say you would recognise this, but I don't know if you would.
2 plus 5, 7.
She's certainly casting some magic.
Pronce kind of goes, ooh, and watches very attentively.
You see her sort of looking, first she's looking up at the birds and then slowly starts turning her head around and gets a very kind of worried look on her face. The glow, after a few seconds, fades. Says, there's some strange shifting magical fields here. Very unusual. I've never seen anything like this outside of a magical laboratory.
I've never seen anything like this at all. Have you, gentlemen? Enothe, in your long life, have you ever seen anything like this?
This is pretty new to me.
This is totally tripping me out. I mean, I don't do magic in fields, like rural fields or force fields.
More force fields, I guess.
Oh, crazy!
I'm wondering where you know the term force fields from, but yeah.
My cousin in the other town, he talks about it all the time.
He sounds very knowledgeable.
I know some stuff. Mostly about shops and retail, but we won't go there.
And rope.
God.
There's a lot of rope.
A lot of rope.
Yeah, they're shifting as well. These aren't in place. This isn't emanating from a single. No, normally something like this would be sort of a fixed thing. Have you? I don't know if any of you know about magnets, but
I don't know how they work.
as these fields are moving, they're active. I don't know what's causing them, but they're moving around.
Are the birds still in the sky in front of us, right?
They're still they're making a sort of slow, what would normally be like a split second of them flying over the road, is taking them a good 30 seconds.
Okay.
Moving in a flock.
Gentlemen, lady, could you give me just a moment? I have an idea. I'll need you to look after me, and I mean it this time. I'm not being a hypochondriac. I need you to keep an eye for a moment. I would like to go into Apollonia and check those birds. I'd like to fly into their little area and see what happens.
Before you do that, can you test something for me?
I can try.
Open the dimension door and try and just teleport a short while away.
Okay. Pulling out the gem of Malar from my pocket then. Pronce looks around, sort of, is there a spot down the road that would be convenient to
Oh,
sort
for
of
sure,
get
yeah,
into?
yeah.
So is it down there a good spot, do you think?
Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay. And I pull out the gem, give it a bit like, because these guys are here, I'm going to kind of like hold it up and say, I have the gem of Malar! And activate Dimension Door.
Okay, so the sparks fly around the gem as you've seen before, and the sort of dark, smoky purple doorway opens in front of you, and you step through.
Watch this, boys, he says as he steps through.
The two of you looking down the road, there is a good 10 to 15 seconds before there's any sign of anything, and then very slowly over the course of about a minute, you see the door open and Pronce step through.
Is Pronce aware of the time lapse?
From my perspective, what am I seeing?
So you step through the doorway, and from your perspective, it looks like they are running around very fast up the road, like back and forth, and there seems to be a conversation going on. It's like somebody put a videotape on extreme fast forward.
Okay. Seeing that as he comes through, I want to say, what's going on? Slow down!
So you hear eventually.
What do we hear?
Blade Runner soundtrack.
Yeah. I think we broke him. We get it.
I think
We get it.
Yeah.
I think they're really slow words. From the
10 out of 10 for commitment, though.
Thank you.
Very, very good one.
Yeah.
It seems to be slow as well, like the birds, right?
But it doesn't seem like it's slow for him.
I don't know. We're over here.
Pronce, come back.
Okay. Kind of. Did I hear that?
I motion to him. Maybe?
You heard a very quick squeak.
Can I interpret it? Is it possible that I could understand what was said to me then?
Make an intelligence check, because you've got an idea that it's something to do with time, so you might be ready to.
Oh, I'm good. That was a 19 plus 3, so.
You can't quite make out the words, but you've got a good inkling that they're trying to get you to come back.
Hey, what? And he cups a hand around his ear and starts walking towards them like that to try and make out what's just been said.
Okay, so the closer you get, the more they seem to slow down. And from the two of you, the closer he walks, the more he seems to speed up. But it takes him from your perspective, it takes him a good 2 or 3 minutes to walk the
Oh my god.
40 odd feet to you.
So time's pretty messed up here.
This is, yeah. Is this all the way around the place or in one spot? I mean, how are we going to work out if there's a perimeter?
Give me a sec. I'm going to knock an arrow and fire it. Not at Pronce, obviously.
to dodge this.
But like through the general area. Just to see
kind of
how it flies, basically.
So, as it flies away from you, are you firing it towards the village?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So, as it flies away from you, you can very quickly see it slowing down. It doesn't appear to be losing momentum. It's not like dropping. It's just it's like the further away it gets, someone's lowering the speed.
Is Pronce back with us now?
And he's back with you now. And very quickly, it seems to almost reach the point where it's, like, at least to your view, stopped.
Okay.
About 120 feet away, it gets to the stopped point.
So further past Pronce.
The further away it gets, the slower things seem to be going.
Pronce? When you went through there, like, for us, you were, like, so slow. What happened on your end?
You were super fast.
Okay. So, it's an idea of what's going on. So that bow you just fired right now to us is slow. That might be still going over there.
So yeah, it looks like it gets worse the closer it gets to the centre of the town.
Okay. How much further to the centre do we have to go? Elys?
I don't know. I haven't been here before, but look, it's not a big village, is it? It's
Okay.
I think we should scout around the perimeter. There's a chance that whatever's causing this isn't affected by it, and if we go closer and we're slowed down and something happens, we'll be at a disadvantage. So I'd rather check around the side, out there on the outside, to make sure that nothing's going on.
Shall we mark a perimeter?
I was going to say, marking a perimeter. We got like bags of rice or anything like that you could just throw in where it's.
I don't know. You tell me. What have you got in your inventory?
Fucking loads of things.
Yeah.
I got a set of playing cards, so I'm going to dish out the playing cards and we'll put them around a rough perimeter, I guess.
Okay. I mean, this isn't going to be a small perimeter. This is a village, so you'll be walking around.
Be a lot.
Yeah, but D&D playing card sets are 600 cards. Did you not know?
Yes, regularly played in the poor impoverished taverns, like 600 card poker.
Nothing's fun like 600 card pickup.
Wow.
You're right. Nothing is fun like 600 car pickup.
So if we just like grab a bunch of cards each,
Well,
and just flick them a couple feet in front of us as we walk around the perimeter and see where they kind of slowly drop or
it's probably
hover.
not. It might be the best idea. We just need to get a rough idea of it.
Well, this is like a sort of like grassland, bushes, trees kind of area.
It's kind of there's sort of the fields around it look like they're worked. They're not. It's not.
So we
fully-
could mark it in the ground then where we're going.
That's what I'm thinking. Like if there's crops or something, or if there's grass, we could pressed down areas?
Yeah.
Make some crop circles, boys.
There's either side of the road there are crop fields. A little way off you can see just kind of grassland type stuff, but it seems like there's a few fields around the village that are being worked.
Okay.
It would be good to, while we're doing this, is hopefully find an opening. Is it possible that there could be an opening in this kind of? I don't know, magic.
That's what's worth checking out
if
for
there's
sure.
a way through.
We should go in pairs. I'll go with Elys around one way. You and Pronce go in the other direction.
Nice pairing. Thanks.
I'm not sure
Thanks.
we should split up.
I think it makes sense. Otherwise, we're never going to get round. And that way, we can see, because it might be that when we meet up, one of us is moving at the wrong speed,
Yeah.
and that's the only way to see it is that if we're in pairs.
Yeah.
It's much safer that way.
Okay.
Pronce looks.
Pronce, you come with me?
And he's looking into your eyes like, you'll keep me safe, yes.
I'll keep you safe.
I've had a horrible time recently. I really don't want that again.
If you can do the marking, and I'll keep an eye on you. How's that?
Okay. And he
Okay.
kind of looks over at Enothe with a look of like, please come back.
Be careful.
I've
You
got
too.
nothing but...
Okay, so the road is pretty much going north-south into the village almost. Who's going east? Who's going west?
I'll go east.
Okay, we'll start with you then.
The two east go east.
Yeah. Team competence.
Team.
We'll see.
Yeah. Team grumpy, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of. I feel like
She's not grumpy. She just doesn't know you guys. She's not really, she's not laughing.
Reason to be,
Team back
keeping us at arm's length at this point.
Yeah.
especially when Pronce is like willingly knocking into her.
So yeah, as you sort of head around the perimeter, are you looking for anything in particular?
Keeping an eye out on I'm keeping an eye out for anything that looks like it's been disturbed recently that shouldn't have been. And
Okay.
also for obviously a change in the flow of time in particular areas that I can notice.
Okay, make a perception check. I don't know whether this would be investigation, actually. Perception first, because if you're just sort of looking for stuff.
11 in total.
11 in total. Okay. It's funny, 'cause lower than your passive, but you're actively looking, so I had to make you make a check. So, I mean, actually, yeah, taking into account your observant feat, where you're kind of just sort of passively looking, it's kind of odd, because again, the village has got this kind of glow about it. And as you kind of slowly make your way around and the sort of vague perimeter trying to keep about the same distance from it, you can see that the glow seems to be focused in the center. It's blocked by the view. The view's blocked by buildings and trees and things, but there's definitely a sort of, that's the epicenter. You don't really notice anything disturbed until you get to the river, which is where you can sort of see, you're not sure if this is a disturbance or whether it's a sort of symptom of the effect that's going on, but it appears to be as you look further west, sort of out of the, like further away from the village, the river appears to be almost sort of like it's like you can see it almost rising as the water is entering the field,
And
slowing down,
yeah.
and it's backing up almost, which is an odd thing to see.
Okay.
Yeah. Until you come to the river. It's not really anywhere easy to cross at the distance that you are at from it. The road goes through the village, and there's a bridge in the middle of the village, basically.
Right, okay.
But yeah, so that's where you make it around to that. You don't see anything disturbed. It's just kind of like little sort of bits here and there that are sort of signs that stuff isn't quite right.
Shit be weird.
Yeah. The sun is starting to go down as
On
well
me.
now. Is there anything you want to do with this knowledge, or are you just kind of...
Well, if that's this river backing up makes sense given the time slowing down, because it
Yeah.
would essentially be hitting what was effectively a solid barrier. So that makes sense. There's not much I can really do with that. It might be that they're trying to purposely do that, but it seems more of a side effect than a willingful action. Elys, what do you think?
You see her casting this sort of spell on her vision. She's looking around. She goes, "But yeah, now this settles it. It's definitely the source of the fields must be in the center of the village.
Is there any way we can get there without being affected by it?
Not that I know of. I don't even understand where this magic's come from.
Okay.
Short of just walking further in, I can't I can't determine that from here.
To your knowledge, is there anything that would stop someone being affected by this? I'm concerned that we'll go in closer and we'll be ambushed by people who aren't affected by it.
I mean, I don't even know what this is.
Okay.
I'm not... I'm in the last year of my studies. I'm not a...
No, I understand.
I'm not a full-fledged...
Yeah, you're more useful than Pronce.
Well, that's... Yeah, he didn't know what to... What's his deal, anyway?
I have actually got no idea. I thought he was a wizard, but given how different your uses of magic are, it's hard to say.
I mean, where did he come from?
Again, I have no idea. He just kind of turned up, and we've ended up being dragged into various things.
You're not much for small talk, then?
He talks. He doesn't say much. I feel like that's accurate.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Pronce talks a lot, doesn't say anything.
Okay, so Bork and Pronce, you're heading off in the opposite direction from the
Team
path.
adventure.
Again, are you keeping about a similar
Adventure.
sort of similar kind of distance from the centre of the village as you go, or are you sort of meandering a bit more?
As we were kind of like leaving each other's vision, like the two groups, Pronce kept looking back to kind of make sure that we were keeping a kind of steady gradient of like, okay, so they're turning a little bit, sort of like looping around the village, so we're going to try and match them as best as possible.
Okay, can I get a perception check for you? You're carrying on looking back as you go?
Kind of looking over the shoulder as much as possible to see like when is he?
See their progress.
When are they disappearing, sort of like in a loop, let's say, so that we can match the gradient. 18 plus what was it? Perception, sorry, or intelligence?
Perception.
Perception 2. It's 20.
20. Okay, so yeah, as you first leave, you all seem to be traveling. It all looks fairly normal. You've got like straight line views to each other. As the two pairs kind of curve round a bit more, you start seeing, like, as you keep an eye on the other two, it's almost like they're leaving kind of weird. It's like they're being sort of spread out a little bit, almost like they're leaving kind of an odd trail, if that makes sense.
Bork, look behind. Look at them. Look at Elys and Enothe. It's like there's almost like a snail's trail behind them in the air.
There is. It's weird. I wonder if we got the same thing.
Can we look behind us and see anything?
You can't see anything behind you. You seem to just be stood there.
There's no sign of anything with us.
I mean, whether we've noticed, but okay, well, we'll keep going, I guess.
Yeah.
See if it deteriorates more or less.
We should probably test a little bit to see how far inwards we could go before one of us is affected.
Okay. Well,
I just wanted to see, like, maybe if we take 3 footsteps away towards the village, like, how much does time slow that far? We could measure a gradient.
go for it. I'll keep an eye on you. This is your idea.
Okay. And Pronce takes 3 steps away from him towards...
So sort of 3 steps to the left. How are you going to measure it?
3 long paces. That's just so he'd... Knowing the route, like we've got the circle around the village, let's say, mentally plotted based on where the 2 groups are going. So just using that as the perimeter, turning towards the village, taking 3 steps.
Yes, but how are you measuring the difference?
The difference. Can I then look at him like, if we wave at each other, once I've taken the steps, if we wave, then you can see, I will wave like this, and he waves at a kind of like 1 pace, and if you could give me your wave, and
then you'll come back afterwards.
Yes, and we'll see, did the wave slow or speed up?
Okay.
So
okay, we're making this up as we go. It sounds good.
Take the 3 steps away and start waving. So we're 3 steps away from each other, waving at each other now.
So the 2 of you wave at each other. There is a slight difference. Pronce, you're the one slightly further into the village. Only 3 steps, and it's barely perceptible because you are still quite close to each other. But there is a tiny, if someone was watching you, like when you both started waving, they wouldn't see it. But Bork finishes just a fraction of a second before you do.
Seeing that, Pronce takes 3 steps back towards him and says, definitely, there's definitely like an increasing intensity as we step forwards, and well, it seems if we stick together, then time is relative, and we will understand what each other is doing and stay in sync, as it were.
Okay, well, we'll keep following it around, I guess. if this little town is not as big as I'm thinking, then maybe we'll be able to meet them round at the other side. Possibly.
Yeah, eventually, if we work our way, it would surely.
Are we outside because you got the map here? There's the river running through it.
You're starting sort of about there.
Are we going
You're coming around that way? They went around
So
that
we are
way.
going to head the river.
We're going to have to cross the river.
You'll get to the river, yeah. And you do.
There we go.
And it appears to be dried up.
Okay, this is nice. Then we should be able to just walk across.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can we see, like, how far, like, in either direction of the river can we see?
As you look sort of downstream, it appears that it's like the water's gone, like the source has dried up. Mm-hmm. So this was a river at some point. Looking into the village, looks like there's water.
Very odd. It's almost like something is holding the water back. I suppose if the time was slower in the village itself, then the water would move more slowly out of it.
Current stops. So yeah, well, the water on this side's already passed, and then we're waiting for some slower water to come. Perhaps.
Well, let's keep going then.
Let's cross quickly.
Yeah. So you cross quickly and continue making your way around. Again, you see more kind of little anomalies. Can I get actually one more perception check as you're passing through a field?
You want to give this one a try?
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out if this is a gravity or time-based anomaly. Because if light's bending as well, then it could be gravitational, not time-based.
Interstellar shit.
I was going to say, is McConaughey in the middle of this?
And it's AJ, so I'm not.
Alright.
This is.
I got a 5.
You got a 5?
Yeah.
Not
a good roll.
You can see a cow.
Okay.
Is the cow moving slowly?
You can't tell.
Cow's partying.
Not with a 5.
Cows never move.
I
think it's a cow.
got a 9.
A 9. There's a cow over there.
God damn it.
It's a lovely looking
Can
cow
Pronce
over
tell
there.
if the cow's moving slowly?
I mean, is it a cow? It's a cow.
It seems to be just sort of standing there.
Moo.
Fancy some milk, Bork?
Oh.
I'm good for now.
I suppose we should keep searching. I've got a little bit of thirst, but let's keep going.
Fair enough. Okay, so you keep moving. The cow just, you pass. It's some distance away, kind of a little closer towards the village. So you continue on your kind of perimeter, reaching the road where it's continued. Looking north into the village, you can see this is just about make out the bridge where the road crossed the river. Looking to the east, you can see the river again has got water in it. In fact, the further east that you look, the more it looks like the river is flooding.
Yes, my theory of the water being backed up appears to be playing out, Bork. Look, the floodplains are expanding across the edges of the river there.
Okay. So that might be where they are, I guess, so that they might be experiencing that side of it.
Yes, I suspect that our friends won't have made it around to this side of the village.
Okay. Well, we'll keep going.
Enothe, can I get a perception check from you, please?
13.
13. Okay, after a while, you do sort of see some slow movement ahead of you, and you can see the two of them approaching. Behind them again, as you first notice them, again leaving sort of a weird kind of like wavery sort of trail behind them. But then the more they kind of come round the curve of their perimeter, the less this appears to be, and then eventually they're stood on the other side of the river to you and Elys. No trails behind them.
Okay, I'm going to shout to Pronce. Pronce, when you were closer to the centre of town, was it harder to move?
Was it?
No, wasn't. Felt normal.
Nope, perfectly normal.
Okay.
No follow-up.
Okay.
If it was yes, then it would have been, hypothetically, it could have been gravity. The thing I'm wrestling with at the moment is I don't know whether or not Enothe has any understanding of what gravity is.
No, I feel, well, this is up to you really. What's your intelligence score?
Oh, my intelligence is 13, so it's not bad.
He knows what gravity is. He probably doesn't know advanced physics.
No. So that's what I mean. I'm wrestling between myself
Yeah.
and the character. I feel like the character probably doesn't know these things.
No.
Shouting across the river to these guys, Pronce says, "The river's gone dry on this side."
It's because it's backed up on this side.
I know.
Okay, thank you.
We worked that one out.
Do you think they're backing up the river because they wanted the river dry on the other side?
Maybe.
Did you see anything further down the riverbed?
we looked to each other and realised we didn't really look further down the riverbed, I guess.
You looked at it. It was it was dried out, but
We saw a cow!
Okay. Did the cow look suspicious?
It looked cow-shaped and it was not doing much.
Okay. I think we should meet on the other side next to the dry river again.
Okay.
I like that low-level shouting.
Yeah.
It's good.
I like that you're not doing it as well.
I mean, it's taken each of you about 45 minutes to make this way round.
God damn.
So if you're meeting back round at the other end of the village at the dry river,
Yeah.
it'd take you probably about half an hour to get the. I mean, you've been waiting at yours because you really only got a quarter of your way around the perimeter. They got 3/4. Well, 3/4 of the way around. It took them about 45 minutes. It's very convenient. I didn't mean for it to work out that way.
Clock-based timing.
Yeah, it's not a very. It's not a huge village. About 45 minutes to walk the perimeter. 3/4 of the way around.
Okay. Once we've kind
back
of
to
met
where
up
we're-
with each other, I'd like to relay to Enothe and Elys my little test.
Yeah.
The
So let's
wave
skip to that
test.
point then. Yeah.
So, Elys, Enothe, I believe I've discerned some measure of the nature of this field that we're walking through. It seems that its intensity is relative to where each of us is stood. So if we stay with each other, then our relativity should stay the same, and we will be able to travel together. We just must make sure that we keep a pace and maintain a distance that's equidistant.
While there were some lovely words in there, I thought we'd already discovered that the time was different depending on where you were anyway, because it was slower for you near the epicenter of this event.
But if you stay with me, is it my example is that if we all walk towards the center, we will all perceive time in the same manner.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is, what if there's someone at the center that is perceiving time as it normally is? And we're the ones, because if we're still going slowly and
But
someone
then
else
there's
is
no
going
way
more-
to get into the middle of this without somebody trying. I mean, I could always give my Apollonia trick a try.
Apollonia is going to be affected by the same things we are,
Well,
surely.
of course, but the point here is that we must get into the village, surely.
You can... How far can you summon Apollonia away from you?
Good question. How far can I take? I think it's
I will.
100 meters or something
look
like
it up.
that.
Oh no, I mean, how far away can you will her into existence?
Well, she's already
She's already there.
floating around.
Yeah, but you can dispel her and then resummon her.
The summoning range is 10 feet, so I can't
okay.
just sort of go, boom, there she is in the middle.
Oh, there she is.
You can communicate with it telepathically within 100.
100 feet, okay.
Within 100, but yeah, it would appear 10 feet away from you.
Well, why don't you send her in while we're figuring out what else we can do?
Well, you'll have to keep an eye is the thing. Obviously, if my mind goes into this and the time is slower further in towards the village, it may be some time before I return. In fact, I now that I think about it, if a day or two were to pass while my mind were in there, my body would suffer terribly.
Elys kind of looks as that would be very dangerous to separate your mind into a different time stream.
Yes,
That's-
as I say, gentlemen, I just don't feel that we should leave each other's sides and venture in here one at a time. My feeling is if we jump headlong into adventure, then perhaps we'll be okay. I mean, I feel a lot better every time you guys are next to me. And he kind of looks to you both as if we're a team, right?
I'm with Pronce on this one.
You think we should just go for it?
I will walk straight in. I don't know a lot about the magic-y stuff, but walking further in is slowing things down. Then if we all just keep walking in, even if this thing, whatever it is, keeps working, then everything's going to keep appearing slower in front of us, right? Even if it's there at the center, and if not, then we get through.
Yes, that's my theory of relativity.
That's your theory of relativity.
I'm just concerned I'm just concerned that I'm concerned that whatever's causing this isn't affected by it, in which case we'll be significantly slower than whatever's potentially the danger.
But if say someone fires or throws something at us, whether we see it coming fast or slow, as it gets closer, it will come back down to or up to our speed.
That's only assuming it's affected by the same things we are. What I'm saying is, if something's made this, if something's made this in order to give themselves an advantage, it would make sense that it wouldn't affect them. And if it doesn't affect them, we're going to be killed by something that's effectively moving at high speeds.
Well, this is past my knowledge of magic, and that's all I was thinking anyway.
Well, on that basis then, Elys, I appreciate you're a student, But between the two of us, do you know of any creatures or magics that may affect time in this manner?
I mean, there's high-level magics that affect time. There might be certain relics or something. I don't know. Some Arcanium members spend their lives searching the country for magical, dangerous magical artifacts. It's possible something like that caused this, but I have no way of knowing what would.
Is Pronce given I suppose this is partially down to what I say, but how knowledgeable would he be about the monsters and magics of this nature potentially? Would he have any insight that I could pull and be it could be this monster that?
Well, you can make an Arcana check, which is a knowledge check about arcane stuff, but bear in mind you lost your memory at some point.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. 11 plus 5, 16.
16. Yeah, when she says, there's high-level magics that do that, that doesn't seem out of place to you. That doesn't seem like a weird thing. You're not like, time magic? No. That tracks.
Okay.
But you can't think of any... You definitely can't think of any monsters that would cause this. But the artifacts and relics thing has a certain ring to it as well, which would kind of jive with what you guys have been doing with these the cultists. If you remember, the cultist note that you read said that the remaining cultists were heading to Wildmeadow to try and intercept something.
What's the cooldown rate of Dimension Door?
He can do it once a day.
Yep, one long rest. I've got to go to sleep.
Okay.
Because it's just built into the artifact.
Yeah,
the Dimension Door is
fine.
spent.
Cooldown rate.
Fucking cooldowns.
So, gentlemen, there's the consensus between Elys and I is that this is most probably a relic or item of some sort. And
the consensus between both of you is that you're not sure.
Well, this is the best knowledge that we've got here, Enothe. I appreciate that you're wary of what lies ahead, but really this is the only lead we have. The Wildmeadow is where the cultists were headed, and what would you suggest otherwise?
Well, it seems unlikely that someone would have done this just to stop the flow of the river. So I guess we go in.
Well, I'm glad that you've come around on the idea, and
I'm not comfortable with this. It's just the only logical recourse.
But of course, I'm not exactly looking to jump straight back into danger, but we've got a job to do, gentlemen, and a duty, and a relic to get. Make sure to keep pace.
I got my shield in front of me.
I think
it is like walking into landmine territory. You just got.
That's what it feels like.
Slowly walking.
As we're walking forwards, I'm going to fire an arrow ahead of us, the same direction we're walking, just so I can watch it to see whether or not it suddenly speeds up, because then we know that that's the end point. Because it will theoretically be
that's one way of doing
traveling
it.
slightly faster than us.
Yeah, that's one way of doing it.
So I'm going to go for that and do it occasionally.
Okay. So, how are you walking? You're on the kind of the riverbed at the moment. What are you? I take it you're not going to just walk up the riverbed, or are you?
Yeah, let's get out of the riverbed.
I'm not adverse to walking up in the riverbed, because we can duck down into cover if need be.
You will reach through water.
No, I know, but if we stay on the side of the river, then that's probably the clearest path towards the centre.
Okay.
Because the river goes straight through the village, right?
Give us some measure of how fast the time is moving ahead of us.
Yeah, and we can see where it's at its worst because the water will have stopped. Even if we're still then moving, at least then we can see. I feel like that's a good way of doing it.
I
use the water as the measure.
As well as the arrows.
Yeah.
Because it might be that it's different on the riverbed to where we are.
Yeah. Okay. So
Enothe's gotten real smart.
and
He's not unintelligent, so
Enothe's been playing too much Dark Souls.
way too much Dark Souls.
So
You're not wrong.
okay, so you get out of the river bed itself, but sort of stay on the edge, and the four of you start walking in towards the village. Enothe, you pull out an arrow, fire it ahead of you. Again, as it starts out, it's at the normal speed, but then heading forward quickly seems to slow down and stop in midair. But weirdly, as you again sort of approach that, it seems to be moving away from you again, as you're kind of catching it up, sort of thing. You sort of make it about another 100 meters or so towards the village, and you start to notice that the ground around you is a little weird. Where it's all, up until this point, seemed to be fairly uniform in, it looks normal. This starts having odd stripes in it. Some of the stripes have the plant growth seems normal, some of it is completely barren earth, completely dead. Some of it is just like the plant growth has gone crazy. They're crisscrossing all over the place, and as you look ahead, you can see the thatch on a nearby building has got a similar sort of look about it. Almost as like something has sort of carved through it, and it's some of it looks like it needs changing, some of it looks very fresh.
Okay, it's possible based on the weird stuff that's going on here and there that whatever's happening occasionally lashes out.
They appear to be ripples.
That could be very bad. If it ripples and it accelerates things fast enough to kill the plants, there's a very real chance that we might just die. There's not we can dodge blades and there's not much we can do against not that.
I got nothing. I don't know about this stuff.
You may very well be right. How far, do these ripples extend in front and behind us? Are we now, kind of in the ripple zone, as it were?
You're kind of entering a ripple zone.
Right. Well, I don't really want to chance my life on this. I mean, that cult they were a bad bunch, but, we don't know them personally, do we?
We've already come this far, there's no point in turning around at this point.
Looking around you...
Well, why did you tell us that we might die then?
Just thought you should know.
Elys again casts spell on her, and her vision glows for a second. She looks around and says, I can see moving arcs in the field. They seem to be stable, but they're moving up above. She's sort of describing what she's seeing under the influence of the spell. It's like a halo over the town, sort of slowly rotating around it.
Can you keep an eye on it to make sure we don't accidentally cross into it?
The spell doesn't last long. We should be okay if we keep moving.
Okay. How often can you cast this?
Well, it cost me some spell power to do it.
Okay.
Well, warn us as we approach the town if there's anything that you see right now. In fact, before we move on, was there a clear epicenter to the halo? Was there a point within the town that it appeared to be emanating from?
I can't see that far in, but it looks like it's. If I could extrapolate the arc of it, it seems to be rotating around the center of town.
Center. Wow. Okay. Well, keep your eyes out for the ripples, and I suppose let's go, guys.
You start to reach the first sort of outlying buildings, and you sort of step into like a little sort of side kind of. It's not really a street because this is just a sort of small country village again. It's kind of like a worn path between a couple of buildings, opening out into a kind of like a sort of side street. And the buildings look fairly worn, fairly like they've been sat there for a long time. There's no sign of any people that you can see. And looking ahead, it looks like the ground around here all seems to be kind of very, very disturbed, almost like it's been dug up and re-burrowed through, and very kind of disturbed.
These look like burrows, or that
no, it just looks like
the ground has been disturbed.
The ground has been
disturbed, like a plough has come through or something.
Yeah, a lot like that.
Okay. Noting this,
not in a regular pattern like it's been ploughed. It just looks like it's been kind of very dug up and
something's been hitting the ground potentially, or being dug in and pulled back out again. It's Elys, do you make anything of these holes in the ground? It looks like something's come through. I don't reckon. And do any of us have any ideas about what might have made these things on the ground?
I'm not really an expert in agriculture. I grew up in Lorana.
It's a poor ploughman that's been ploughing up this side street. That's for sure.
Is it worth trying to do a perception check?
Yeah, you can look and see what you see.
Just in case.
What are you looking for specifically?
Just say what you see.
I've got a horrible feeling that it's a tree stump and an axe is about to be. It's grass on the floor. Like.
Have I noticed anything with my passive perception because it's redonkulous?
You haven't noticed any people.
Okay.
Not even frozen. There's just no sign of people. Which is odd. There should be some people. You still can't see into the centre of town from here, by the way. Your vision's blocked. In this particular little sort of square of buildings, there's not really any. You can't see anybody.
Okay.
Were you still going to try having a look?
What were you looking for specifically?
I don't know. It's just the idea that you said about the ground being churned up in such a way, but that it's almost like the place has been left for a long time.
The buildings look like they've been standing there for a long time.
And we can tell otherwise that the churned up ground is fresh, or is it like dried? And
Make a perception check. Yeah, make a perception check. Yeah.
11.
It doesn't. It's a little dry, but some of the churns look fairly fresh.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. So although the buildings are looking like they've not been touched in a long time, this ground looks like it's been kicked up more recently than the buildings have been affected.
Oh, the other thing as well with your passive, you have noticed as well, by now the sun should be down. Still kind of light.
Is the sun still up, or is it as though...
You can't see the sun, but
it's
based
still
on
light.
where it was when you were outside the
So
village,
it's almost like the light is slowing down as well.
that could be a way of putting it.
That is how I'm putting it.
Yeah.
Before we go further, gentlemen, I've an idea about. In fact, it's not a new idea. I get it. This is the third time I'm asking you. Apollonia. Now, if I fly directly up, I should not be affected by the time gradient.
What happens... I'm not even going to ask you. Fuck you. Keep that in. Keep the pain.
Listener's note, Jason looked directly at me and said that. I don't have to sit here and put up with this kind of abuse.
I'm out. That's fine, Pronce, but what if you hit the halo and your mind ages while you're in Apollonia?
Well, I'm not planning on going that far. I simply want to get a better view of where we're going.
But you can't see it. There's every chance that you go up, you get hit by a ripple, and you die.
Like, it could be hit by the ripples down here. I mean, it appears as though these things are emanating in, I don't know, like a pillar-like fashion, potentially. Like, it from the centre outwards. And my thought is that I simply want to see where we're going. If this ground's being churned up and we've no notion of what's ahead, then...
I think it's unwise to separate your mind and body at this point. I also think it's incredibly unwise for us to stop for anything.
Orc could carry me.
I don't know about that, although I don't know what else is going on.
I feel like it's wise to just stay on our guard rather than anything else. I appreciate wanting to scout out ahead. This just seems incredibly unwise.
Well, what do you guys think?
On guard, I will stand. I'm willing to keep moving, but just cautiously.
Elys?
That's all I know.
I mean, I know you're new to the group, but we like to do things fairly democratically around here.
Oh, you hear tales in the Arcanium of people who've messed with time magic and things have gone badly. They you never really hear what happens to them.
Oh, okay. Realising that his plan's not going to happen, he sort of gestures down to Apollonia, who's been floating about a foot above everybody's heads. That's where she's always at.
Yeah, it's kind of a
It's
passive.
always about a foot above.
She's like your
everybody.
Sims thing.
That's it. And now I've just gotten her to fly down onto my shoulder and kind of like give a little stroke as if like, I'll put you to use eventually. Don't you worry, my dear.
So you're setting out across this ground.
Yes.
That sounded like a very leading question. Are you continuing on?
We're continuing forward, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Good. Okay. So, stepping out, you get about halfway across this churned up ground before you feel a rumbling below your feet.
Take 3 steps back
Yeah, I'm going to back straight up on the churned ground.
to see if it stops rumbling.
You still feel the rumbling.
Okay. I wondered if it's just...
Does it feel like it's directly below us?
You can't get a solid kind of like feeling of where it is, but it definitely is something in the ground.
Elys, can you see anything? Would you be able to see anything?
No, I can't. This isn't the same. This isn't the same thing.
Wonderful.
And a few seconds pass, and about 20-30 feet away from you, the ground erupts as a large, very large, about 10 feet long, kind of insectoid creature bursts out and looks around, points directly at you, and lets out a low, kind of shuddering growl. Okay, that's going to do it for this episode. Our next episode, episode 40, will be available as usual in 2 weeks' time on Thursday the 20th of December. That's actually going to be our final one of 2018, so be sure to tune in for that. In the meantime, you can get in contact with us on Twitter and Facebook, both of which we are at Pretend with Dice. You can also email us at pretendingwithdice@outlook.com. If you're an iTunes user, it'd be really great if you could leave us a rating and review. It all helps us to find new listeners, and we'd love to hear what you all think of the podcast. So, for now, that's our show. I hope you all enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.